But to start the programme, Tony Bastable has been to the Ford Advanced Vehicle Operations Centre in Essex to look at the future of modified cars.
Time was when if you wanted almost any kind of specialist car, then the only real choice you had was to go to the little man round the corner with a lock-up garage. And in far too many cases, what you got back was a motor car with a heavily breathed-on engine, but sometimes rather lacking in the steering, brakes and suspension departments. Well, things have changed. The man with the lock-up's retired rich to the south of France, as more and more manufacturers step into the field, offering motor cars as original equipment in just about every state of tune that even the most enthusiastic motorist could dream of. Ford Advanced Vehicles Operation at South Ockendon in Essex. Because, unlike the mainstream plants at Dagenham and Halewood, which concentrate on the bread and butter products, all the specialist high-performance cars like the Mexico, the RS 1600 and the newer RS 2000 have life breathed into them here. Starting with a trimmed body shell, the cars join what must be the shortest production line in the whole of the Ford empire. It's a short, oval-shaped line, and for a car factory, it's reassuringly clean. Quite a change from one lock-up garage round the corner, isn't it? The bodies edge slowly along, and the heart of the car, together with the front suspension, are fitted as one unit. The Mexico has the overhead valve cross-flow 1600cc engine, which also powers some Capris. The RS 1600 has a much modified twin overhead camshaft version of the same engine, while the recently announced RS 2000 has the 2-litre single overhead cam engine, which is also fitted in some Cortinas. High-ratio steering racks go in, heavy-duty suspension, plus the more obvious benefits like alloy wheels and wide-section tyres, and a variety of comfortable and very functional bucket seats. The body colours for these AVO cars are tremendously bright: blues, yellows, whites and greens. Yet apparently the trendiest colour you can order today is plain old-fashioned black. What was that Henry Ford said about any colour you like, so long as it's black? Also in this building is the special build section, where customers' cars can be prepared to a very high degree for either circuit racing or rallying. But far and away the greatest proportion of the 12,500 cars built annually each year at South Ockendon are for road use. Now, of course, the wolf in sheep's paintwork goes faster, but doesn't it also cost more to service and to insure? And isn't it environmentally unsound? To answer those questions, the man responsible for all the cars built here at AVO, the manager, Mr. Rallying himself, Stuart Turner. Stuart, first of all, service costs. It must cost more to service a Mexico.
No, because basically it's a rearrangement of existing Ford parts, and the service times for the engine stays the same as in the original car, so our service costs are very comparable to mainstream.
I bet the insurance premium doesn't stay the same as an ordinary car.
That isn't, because we don't control that. The insurers look at our cars, and I suspect they think we sell 100% to boy racers, which isn't so. 90% of our customers are businessmen, doctors, lawyers, dentists, who are probably better drivers than the average. So I wish they'd get off this sporting kick and judge them on those sort of people. I think our insurance rates are high. They should be lower, particularly when you bear in mind that the body panels are mainstream. They're freely available.
What about exhaust emission and pollution?
Well, on those, we are contained by exactly the same regulations as any other manufacturer. Therefore, our cars quite simply have to meet these regulations.
And fuel consumption?
On fuel consumption, that depends on how you drive. But putting a big engine into a little car is often a very economical way of going motoring. It entirely depends how you drive. If you want to be a Roger Clark, you can get bad figures. But if you drive normally, the cars are very good.
Stuart, thanks a lot. I'll be back to you, if I may, in just a moment. Okay. So that's the performance car of today, then. But what about the future? Will it still lie with camshafts, crankshafts and carburetors? Perhaps not. Take a look at this. And this is a turbocharged Ford Cortina. Ford have been playing around with turbocharging, and it may be that the future of the modified car lies with this system. The turbocharger here is driven by the exhaust and so uses much less power than the chain or belt-driven supercharger. The engine is inherently cleaner, so emission is less of a problem, and what's more, it's easier to modify too, to comply with any new emission control regulations, and noise is no problem. But surely an engine like this is going to use up very much more fuel. Stuart?
Not necessarily. It entirely depends how you drive it. If you put your foot down and go mad with it, obviously it would be uneconomical. If you drive it normally, it will be exactly the same as a normal car.
I see. What about wear and tear on the parts, though?
need be no more than normal, again depending on just how hard you drive the car. It's exactly like driving a car or riding a horse. The harder you thrash the thing, the more wear and tear you get.
Some people have said you can get more, up to 50% increase in performance out of a turbo.
You can.
supercharger.
It entirely depends just how you tune it. You wouldn't want that degree of power for normal road use, but for competitions you could get that. We're still not sure for rallying whether the throttle lag will be totally contained.
Yeah.
It's certainly acceptable for road use. It's been accepted for racing where you're on a given track where you know the corners. Rallying, it remains to be seen.
So this lag business between pressing the throttle and something
Should be no
happening,
problem for the normal motorist at all.
As and when it's available, how much will it cost me?
Difficult to tell because it would entirely depend on volume. If we were going to do a Cortina here as a limited run, as an AVO car, 200, 250 pounds per car, because we wouldn't do it without doing other things to the brakes and suspension, because it can make it a much more powerful car, of course. If it went into volume production by a big manufacturer, the cost could, of course, come down on that.
Well, given that I could afford it, the basic price plus the extra for the turbocharger, could I ever afford to insure it?
Our friends, the insurers. I would hope so, because this is a different animal to a competition car. They would see it as a his and hers car, and of course the one advantage with it is it's rather like television. You can switch it off.
Well, don't switch me off, will you? Incidentally, the one company already selling a mass-produced turbocharged car, BMW, with their Turbo 2002, reports sales of positively glowing proportions. So perhaps we shall all be sitting behind turbochargers in the next few years.